I went there for my first, second, and third grade. And I do remember Hills being just
It was
here
Hills.
close. Yeah,
Well,
it
see,
was, yeah.
the other day,
It
it
was,
was mentioned that it was a Kroger, and I said, well, it might have been, but I'm thinking of just Hills.
Yeah, because then they moved on further out to the new store, and that's where I worked.
Now, where was Randy's record shop? When we were
Randy's was right down
We used
here.
to listen to Randy's record shop on WLAC.
Yeah.
We was parking.
Oh, yeah.
We was parking.
Parking and sparking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, everybody, thought Randy's Record Shop was just a huge, huge place.
It was small.
And
wasn't it?
then when they would actually see a picture of it or something, they were like, is that all there is to it? But his money-making deal was the mail order part of it.
Yeah.
He shipped out a bunch of stuff.
Now, my daddy, he had a band. It was called Your Story in the Summer Countings, and he played over at WHIN when it first got started.
Yeah.
And I'd be late for school the mornings that they was to play because it went into the time that I should have already be halfway to school.
Uh-huh.
But the teachers, they kind of let me slide by that.
That's pretty neat.
It was.
Yeah.
I remember farming was tough. I remember my dad lived on called it PGT Road now, and it was about 34 or 35, and that was a dirt road then. And the dust got under the biker, and he was going to wait till it come a rain to wash it off before he could cut it. Then it turned cold and frosted, and I think it brought about 3 cents a pound.
Oh, man. All that work.
And I remember they was telling a tale about this one guy, and he carried some tobacco off, but they didn't bring enough to pay the expenses, and they told him to bring 5 hens. So the next time he come back, he had 10 hens. He said, well, I got some more tobacco. So the tobacco didn't bring as much as, yeah.
So if it hadn't had the hens, it'd been in the hole,
Yeah, he was
wouldn't
better than a hole.
Man, what a mess.
Yeah.
Well, my Uncle Grover lived right there at TGT Road and 109.
Yeah.
Grover Fleming.
Yeah,
And Kilowatt, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kilowatt.
We know Kilowatt. He worked over we lived right behind the gas plant. In fact, we bought the Wooster place, and Mr. Wooster sold the front part of it off to the Tennessee Gas, and we bought the rest of it in about 1960. We still got it.
Now, Don Fleming, my cousin, still lives there in Grover's place.
He does.
Well, let me tell you this about Don. Just before our anniversary, Don hadn't had a chance to buy me a card. I fixed him one, so I was shopping for him anniversary card. And I was looking, I had it pinpointed down to about 3. Somebody come up and they put their arm around me, and I was looking this way, looking this way, and then he got around where I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to help you do what you're doing, picking out. I said, well, I need some help. I've got it down to 3. And I said, you see what you pick out. He looked at them. He said, this is what you got. That's one I like the best, and that's one he got. But they come to our anniversary, and we see them, everywhere with a stitch at different places.
Yeah.
Well, we seen this money out at the nursing home.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Don always has a big get-together out at his house, and he'll go get her at the nursing home, bring her out. And she just really enjoys it, enjoys the music, and everybody knows her.
Yeah.
So, she's just tickled to death to be there. Of course, then you got to take her back. But it's always good to see her get out and really enjoy herself.
It is.
And people need that. People need to get out there once in a while.
But Bonnie's going to enjoy herself wherever she is.
Wherever she is.
Somebody she can talk to.
Yeah. Well, all of Don's friends, they were over there all the time. So they know her, she knows them. And it just tickled her to death when they come and say something to her,
Did you know Donna and Howard Black? They live in Oak Grove, but they go to church with us First Baptist. He worked for
that sounds
for
familiar.
years.
That sounds familiar.
And Howard
Black.
He was even postmaster in Portland until he retired there.
Maybe where I know him from.
It could be.
That sounds familiar. Well, I lived at Brackentown when I first got married, right across from Judge Butt's house.
Yeah.
And that little house there was, at that time, was a switchboard, what they call the switchboard.
It was.
And people would have to come there and make a phone call. So kind of like one part of that house, had 2 front doors. And at the time that I lived there, and people would come, I guess, to make a phone call and, you know, where somebody lived there in one part of the house at all times, I guess. And then they'd let them in, and it had the old kind of switchboard thing that you'd see on Green Acres or something, you know.
And the phones were on the wall in the house, and you'd have to crank them. And
It was a party line, and everybody listened to what.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember, let's see, it was somebody I was calling, I think it was Aunt Gertie Martin, and Mamie Holmes told me, you know, how to do it. She said, just crank it. When they come on, they'll say, Sal Fury. And when Sal Fury said Beth Page, and when Beth Page answered, said 9-5. That's a number I was going to call to get Aunt Gertie.
Yeah.
But you had to go through.
Yeah.
And see, I hadn't even thought about that on this.
Yes, well, see, they got a different, it ain't like AT&T or Bell South, it's something else up there. I can't remember
It's
what
something central,
South
North Central or-
North Central,
North Central, I
North
think.
Central Bell or North Central, something other, yeah.
talking about Mr. Budd, he had a son named J.M.
Yeah.
And J.M. used to come to the New Year reunion because we're related someone or other.
Yeah.
And one of the girls was in Donna's class at school, her daughter's class
Yeah.
at school. What was her name? Do you know what the girls' names are? It's two of
Now,
them.
wasn't there Lynette,
Lynette
and McKee, and then there was the one that was older than her,
The
her older
older.
sister, but I don't
Yeah,
remember
that's
her
what I'm
name.
trying to think.
But Lynette, in fact, she's probably younger than me, a year or so.
And you're how old?
I'm 61.
61. Okay, you're
Yeah.
close to Donna's. Donna's 61.
And
Yeah.
she
She's
married
53.
McKee, John, I think it was John McKee, I think is who she married. But super nice people. And Miss Bud still lived over there when I first got married and lived over there. Miss Bud
Inez,
still lived
was
there.
that Inez?
Yeah.
Well, see, Inez was kin to my daddy. She was Inez Cates.
Okay.
Okay. And her mother and my grandmother, who was my daddy's mother, they were sisters. They married Cates.
I think Deborah was one of those things.
Deborah, that's it,
Okay.
Deborah.
Okay.
She's my
Now, Miss Budd told me at one time that old switchboard thing, you know, that they had to do the phone stuff with, was over there in that barn, right there by the house. But I guess somebody took a liking to it and hauled it off. It wasn't there no more.
Well, what if that was Bracken Callan or Beth Page or what?
I don't know.
Self Fury too. I don't even know where Self Fury is.
Well, now, that's just on out Dawkins Pike.
Yeah.
If you went back toward Gallatin, Sulphura ain't very far down the road from Oak Grove. There's a little cemetery down there and a little grocery store. I think now it's a church. But at one time, there's a little grocery store, about 5-10 houses, and that's about it. Just down below Corinth Road.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, Corinth that cuts over
Yeah.
across 52 and then
Yeah.
goes up to St. Town.
I know my grandparents
Uh,
lived on Corinth Road, you know, when you come out the road that goes down to the house, then you turn left and you go down that little schoolhouse, Corinth School. It was kind of in a curve. And so everybody had to take a little something every day to put with the lunch that they was going to serve everybody. They put it all together and serve it. I wasn't going to school then, but I, like the other, you know, the little road, anybody could go if they wanted to.
Now, was that for other kids maybe didn't have anything?
No,
Maybe?
it was for everybody that went, just everybody would bring something, and they put the cooks would put all that together. And the cooks would be just people that I guess volunteered to work for a week, and then
Yeah.
somebody else the next week.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And, and what I was going to say about that, and it was this particular time was in April, and it come the biggest snow. Because I remember, of course, I was small, but it seemed like the snow was almost up to my waist. And I had on this cute little frock Mother bought me for Easter, and she had to go and find a coat to put on me, and my brother the same way. But I'll never forget that snow. We was out trying to hunt Easter eggs, and you couldn't even hunt them.
That was in 36 or 7, plus I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Because we lived over at Father Gas plant, and I know I was disappointed too, because when we were going to hide Easter eggs in it,
Couldn't do it because of
couldn't do it
snow, huh?
on account of snow.